That's so typical Jack. Just when you think everything's going perfectly.
Fucking useless.
There's only one thing for it.
Yeah. I wish I'd drunk alcohol. I could do with it.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Hello. Hello, Clive. Hello, Tailspin. Hello, Richard Warwick. Hello, Lurgy. Hello, Swanee. Numbskull. Audio Geek. Sonic Tonic. Hello, buddy. Yeah. How you doing, guys? Not too bad. So Stephen's internet's down. He joined with the use of a mobile hotspot. That's him now. He might sound like a robot. So we will stall for time. Wait till Stephen says something. Hello, Stephen. Can you hear us?
Well, since said I might lose audio session, and yeah,
fantastic.
I'm not sure my mobile connection is doing, but let's see.
Could you move closer to a window?
I could get a ladder out and climb on the roof, but I think all that's happened is I might break something. No.
Okay.
I'm on a desktop. Just give it a go. We'll see what happens. What happens, happens.
Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome. You're listening to Let's Drone Out. And tonight we are joined with the man with the mustache and the not so wonderful connection, Belric/Stephen.
Hello. Hopefully you can hear me. Broadband problems.
Oh.
No, that was me.
Oh,
that was me.
Oh, I see.
My flux.
Broadband problems and sabotage.
Yeah.
So I would like to point out to our viewers that was Jack pointedly removing my audio from the stream and not me.
Yeah, I dropped my flux. I was like playing with it in my hand, and it just hit the space bar, and it
that's what we all believe. Yeah,
that's totally what it is.
That's what happens with my flux all the time. That is, it's just funny that happened to you.
Oh, it just gets all over anything that you want to.
Yeah, when I throw random objects at my keyboard, sometimes they hit the keys. It's just random.
Yeah.
What, you mean your fingers?
Don't
want these anymore.
Yeah. I'm Brighton till I fly, and we are joined by the whole reason that we have anything in this hobby, Mr. Cleanflight.
I wouldn't say that's true, but hi everybody.
You're the one who cleaned up the code. You're the one who saved us from Time Cop and base shite.
There's more than one flight control software out there. You know, we'd probably just be using RGPilot or something instead, right?
Oh no, all Open Toilet. Remember that?
Or D-Ronin.
Well, D-Ronin was later, wasn't it?
Or Tau Labs. Who knows? Who knows?
Individually calibrating ESCs in Open Pilot. Oh my god, that was so bad, wasn't it? Your quad would like try and take off. It was just like a wing and a prayer.
I don't think I ever tried it, to be honest. The calibration thing.
Well, it was all part of the setup. You had to kind of go through that wizard before it would let you.
Maybe you did. It's a long time since I've used that. Like a long time. I think I decided fairly quickly that I didn't like it.
Yeah. So for any of you that are uninitiated, Mr. Cleanflight, Dominic Clifton right here, took the forked base flight and then wrote Cleanflight. And then we all switched over. And then it was all good until Boris started meddling around and then kind of had like a little offshoot fork for like beta testing stuff, and then that got released out into the wild, and then slowly beta flight overtook Cleanflight, unfortunately.
The Popularity, yes. The quality at the time, no.
Yeah, because it was just kind of, they were just adding stuff. I mean, the notch filter was revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean, Betaflight has been called things like filter flight before, right? But, yeah, I mean, obviously filters do make a huge difference, and they are very, very useful in signal processing. So, you know.
Hey, Alexander.
But they're not my speciality, the filter side of things. That's not my speciality.
Yeah. Was it, back in the day, was it quite difficult to like keep up with all the pull requests?
You have no idea. It was a very fast changing time back then. Yeah. And the amount of people available to do code reviews, because I was busy like refactoring the code base left, right, and center, trying to like clean things up and make it into like a more mature system, right? And at the same time I'm doing that, people are going, "Oh, this is pretty good. Oh, it flies pretty good. Oh, can I add this to it? And here's some code." It's like I was going to get to this other thing. Now I've got to look at that. And there wasn't enough of me to go around, or enough of all the other maintainers and so on at the time either. So, and I guess it was the first like large project with a large community involvement, and I'd never done that before. And it turns out you need someone who can manage a community and manage all that side of things if you're busy writing the code. So I didn't have enough time to do both, and therefore one thing slipped, and it's the thing that obviously I don't enjoy doing as much as the other thing that slipped, which is community management. I prefer coding, so I mean, computers only argue back a little bit. People argue back a lot. Right?
I know. Yeah, totally. I mean, you really have, kind of gone completely through it. So did you need a community manager then? Did you need to find someone to...
I hadn't even thought about it or contemplated it. These thoughts only come to me post situation, as it were, hindsight. Yeah.
It was still early day though for, what it was.
Yeah. I mean, there's, but it's, yeah. I mean, there were a few other, bits of software that predated it, like we mentioned earlier, but they're all maturing, being developed like really actively at that time. Like they still are today, but there's some aspects of it are more sort of known and sort of commonplace now, whereas before, no.
Are you ever tempted to go back and like, revive CleanFlight or do...
It's funny you asked that. Someone asked me that the other day, actually. They joined the CleanFlight Discord server, because there is actually a CleanFlight Discord server. Have I posted the link anywhere? Probably not.
I don't know.
Because I created it because Slack was like dying basically, so I just archived all the Slack stuff, created the CleanFlight Discord like ages ago, and then I've just pasted a dump of the Slack archive in there, and a couple of other people randomly hop in there and say hi. And then someone popped in there last week or something and said, "Is CleanFlight dead?" I'm like, "Well, it's not actively maintained anymore." And he goes, "Oh, I was hoping for CleanFlight 5 or something like this." And I'm like, "Well, I'm programming in Rust these days, so we'll see."
Rust, the programming language, not the video game.
Correct. Yes.
It's always throws me. Is Rust coded in Rust? Do you know?
The compiler compiles itself now. Yes.
Yeah.
That's always like a milestone for any new programming language. Can the compiler be written in the language that it compiles itself? So you need an old version of the compiler to make a new version of the compiler. But at some point, you need something that creates the first bit of Rust code, so that first bit of Rust code you can then write the next version in. But yeah, and then you have to translate all the code into Rust or something once you get to that point.
It was like the very first CNC machine. You needed to make the parts yourself, and then it could self-replicate. Kind of like 3D printers.
3D printers with the same thing, right? As well.
Yeah. of like taken from other things, and as soon as you made that one thing, then it could make parts for itself to make it better or make other 3D printers. It's kind of weird. Stephen, you all right? How you doing?
It's so hot here today.
You look hot. I also love the fact. I love the fact that your like office / workshop is in Cleanflight colours.
Ceiling fan, and then we've got somewhere over here. We've got where is it? A giant floor fan. Oh, that's quite nice. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna stay like this. It's pretty good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so if my camera was on, I might show you the fan concoctions that I built recently. Basically, I decided that there was this brand of reasonably priced, fairly quiet PC case fans, and I've got 14 of them tied together with zip ties in a kind of hanging grid formation to my left-hand side, all blowing at me and controlled by a smaller double power supply. So I can change the voltage. They're currently on 9 volts, but if things start getting real, they're going to be up to 14 or 15 volts, and we'll see what the bearings can take.
Yeah, nice. Was it the Noctua fans? Those ones will be all right with their ceramic bearings or something, aren't they?
So I like some ones that require bearing based not don't squeal too much.
You're breaking up, Stephen.
Yeah, you
didn't get a word of that.
Oh, sorry.
Shucks.
Yeah,
he's muted himself. Back to... So I was going to show you, Jack, because you mentioned my office is in Cleanflight colours. My amazing PC down here, where is it? Which is also Cleanflight green.
Was it paid for by Cleanflight money?
No. Most things are not. No, nothing's really paid with Cleanflight money, because whatever money the project got, it was basically used to like buy the devs like hardware and or might pay for test equipment and oscilloscopes and things like that. Really.
Yeah.
But not so much my computer, because I needed one of those anyway. So
these projects don't work as profit centers unless you're selling companies £1,000 plus versions of the hardware.
Hardware? Well, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to monetize like open source projects.
You have to have like a premium tier that you sell really expensive kit to, not 50 or 20 quid boards to hobbyists, where you can at most factor in perhaps a couple of quid if you're like BLHeli32.
Yeah, it's down to a volume game when the item you're selling is small and low value. So it's like, how many of them can you shift? It's like cans of tomatoes in the supermarket. You got to sell a lot. Right?
When your total addressable market is like 300 guys across Europe, that's a challenge.
It's exactly. The market is very saturated. That's the word we're looking for. Saturated. There's a lot of product out there. There's a lot of stuff out there, and there's new people going. I mean, I see people popping in like the hardware dev channels and stuff. It's like, how do I do this? How do I do this? I'm thinking of making a new flight controller. Or is there any references for this, that, and the other? And you see it like almost daily. There's someone new asking about it.
I found this gyro that's extremely cheap and available in large quantities. Like, is there a reason that the
No, we lost him.
No, Stephen. Try again.
No. Oh, connection problems. Nightmare.
This is a futile. I'd laugh if he's going through all this and actually the internet's been restored by where he is.
Yeah, that happens. That does.
Yeah, I kind of just hope that Cleanflight is going to be like one day like Wii U, where, in a couple of years, there'll be one update and people will be like, posting that South Park meme. I didn't hear the bell, bitch. It's still going.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with it is, I'm split too many ways. My time is. It's like I don't have enough time. And like I was saying, you know, you need like a community manager and someone to do this and someone to do that, and you need the size of the project and the potential user base requires more than one person to do it, like a team basically, for running this kind of sized project here.
It'd be amazing. I think you should run a team and then, you know, kind of have like the F1 like equivalent league where people fly and, you know, D-Shot 150 limit, you know, like F1 board, F3 board.
I mean, it might be entertaining, I guess, but it's not where my heart is. It's like, I've seen how we used to do things. I'm a technologist, right? I'm always wanting to push things forwards. So I know there's something better now. Why would I want to use this old thing anymore? You know?
Yeah.
There would have to be a good reason to
one shot 42.
Go back to it. Yeah. It's like chopping your fingers off with the one shot stuff. It's like, no. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Oh, do you remember dampened light with the twitch? The random twitches on your bench.
Oh, yeah, it's not good.
I just, you know, like I just love it when, you know, I don't know whether you've seen it, but I had a friend who like left just before you left the hobby just before you released the FPS, the Seriously Pro F3.
Oh, that was a fun time.
His last quad was like Naze 32, the like, you know, the Bioheli ESCs by DYS, the white ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. Yeah, and 1806 motors in a fossil stuff, like, you know, you know, 250 quad, and like they popped round for the first time in ages, and they were like looking at my quads and being like, "What is this?" And then I played the video of like, you know, Rotor Riot like flying the multi-wii board and being like, "Watch this," and they were, you know, like, "Where's the OSD?" And he was, you know, my friend was like, "We didn't have OSD. We, you know, like, what's air mode?" Like, they'd never heard of air mode.
Oh my god!
Things fall out the sky and you like it, and you don't know why. You don't know whether there's anything wrong.
Or just the fun of trying to keep it up there. That was
exactly.
half the entertainment. I think that was.
We used to celebrate when we finished a battery. That used to be a big deal.
Yeah,
like, if you actually
I remember that. If you get to the end of a battery.
Yeah, like there was like party poppers and, you know.
Oh my god, I didn't crash it.
Pims and everything. Yeah, you never used to finish a battery. Your props used to break before that.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
right, the old shatter props.
Yeah, you know, like there was, you know, there's still bi-blades, you know, like just oh man.
One of my favorite quads is a bi-blade one. It's well good.
My favorite
have it in Ibiza. I used to fly it over there, and it just makes this most amazing screaming noise when the props are slightly damaged or whatever, and it just poons around everywhere. It's just like obnoxious. It's great.
My favorite quad of yours was the TBS Acro Disco.
Oh, Acro Disco in, that's well good. Because it's not the right frame for doing like Acro in, but if you do the Acro in a disco, it's well good.
Do you still have that? It was amazing.
I've still got that. It's in the box in the cupboard over there. It's in there.
Grab it, please. I'll store for
hold
it.
Hold on.
There's a like Dom's got like a video on his YouTube, which I might ask him to like send me a link of his YouTube. But it was like, yeah, you know, he was like sort of like replying to Mr. Steele, like, you know, can your quad do this?
It's not been out for a while.
Dom,
oh my god.
Dom was like, here's like the worst frame. I mean, what moto could you possibly have had on that? Like, they must have been massive. It must have been like 2208. They got to be.
Yeah, there it is. I see it. The
box of
random old stuff. Check that bad boy out.
God.
That's one of the... Oh, I love that one. That was well good.
Hobby RC strap on it. It was very flat and pancakey.
Look how thin the carbon is on that bad boy.
Oh my God, that
Dear
was...
me.
Is that a ZMR or...
I don't know what any of these are anymore. They don't stay in there. V-tail.
Oh my God, yeah, I remember that one. V-tail.
And then I have to get all these out before I can get to the other one because it's at the bottom.
Is the V-tail...
Same frame, but tricopter.
Tricopter. Hey, is the V-tail running like a KK2 board, or was there a special setting?
If you're asking me now, I don't know. This was my favourite quad for a long time. This is the one that went to Drone Nationals in 2015. This was.
Jesus Christ! I mean, look at it. It's got like a board camera. There's so much 3D printing. I mean, I can't imagine how much that weighs.
It's not. It's not light.
Light bar.
With the old Sunny Sky motors, but it was loads of fun.
2208.
Pretty durable as well, actually. Oh yeah.
2206.
I've got to get this going again soon. This never flew, but I have some new software that should actually make this work.
Ooh. Oh, what, the tilting? Yeah, servo arms. Why do people think that would actually work?
Because it does.
It does. Well, I've got some new code to get this working. It doesn't work.
Here we go. Acro
yes,
disco.
The Acro Disco. Yes.
Get the antennas up. There we are. With it, the GoPro went over here, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Has it got like the NASA board and like TBS core soldered in and everything?
No, I didn't have that. I think I may have upgraded it like maybe a few years ago, and it's got at the time that I was flying it had, I think I used to run a Sparky in this most of the time. Yeah. When I was doing most of the Acro stuff, I was using the Sparky in this. Remember the board that's got like the weird cutout in the corner and only 3 mounting holes or something? Yeah, it's like a... Is it F3 or F4? I think it might have been an F4. Sparky, it was called. But it's got an F7 dual in there at the moment. But it's well good. I used to run like 4,200 milliamp hour batteries in that thing. With what motors are on it? Sunny Sky X 2212 13 980 kV.
I can't find the Sparky flight controller.
Sparky, yeah, Sparky. Oh my god! This
the only thing that comes.
I did my first flip with this quad.
Oh, I remember the days of the first flip.
This is a line of sight one, should I say? This is a line of sight, not.
That's all I can find.
No, it's not that. It's Sparky. Talab Sparky. Well, it's the original Sparky then, probably.
Well,
no, it's not that one. It might have been an F3.
No, you said F1.
Oh, this is well good. This one, I love this one. Let me power it up. Hold on. Let me turn my bench power supply. I've got to steal the power from it because I made up a cable today just for random things that you do because it's got a pimp LED setup on this thing. Let's have a chuckle.
No, this has got 4.
Oh, and this is a 3S as well, so I better not shove 16 volts in it. Can we get it working? What's the chance?
I wonder what the boot sequence is going to be like.
Hold on, I've got to get my battery or cables right. XT60 to XT60. Dean's connector on the quad.
What is wrong with you?
And then, what do we want? About 12.6 volts or something in it?
Something like that.
Yeah, 12.6. Hold on. Let me put the bench power supply 12.6. Current limit, because it's not been turned on for a while. Probably need more than 500 milliamps, though. Let's go 2 amps. Boy, boots. Yeah.
Hey.
Hold on. Oh, no. Wait. Current limit kicked in just as it was doing the motor beeps. Here we go. Oh, yes. Yeah. Look at that bad boy.
Oh, low battery.
Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything's fine. This Welgo used to do night flying with this thing. It was brilliant. I used to do like just go out like randomly and just do night flying and flips and stuff. Line of sight. It was well good.
Oh my god.
Love this thing. It's brilliant.
It's amazing.
Back in the box. Back in the box.
The Acro Disco, man.
The Acro
way
Disco.
forward.
Love the Acro Disco.
I miss the old school ESE startup. You know, like the Simon K and all that.
I don't know what that was in that. Just
like
then.
with the flash, like that sounded like Simon K.
Probably was. Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
it's
the
like...
USB Atmel flash loader.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that you like stick over the whole bloody chip. It's like 4 whole Arduinos on each arm.
Let me just set my bench pass pipe again. Sorry.
All right.
Uh-oh, what's going on there? Have I got it wired up right? Oh dear, what did I do? No, that's not right. I don't know. I'm not sure what I've done there. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. I hope I buggered it. It's probably just a bad connection. No. Oh no. I've not killed it. Okay, well, I'll come back to that later. It's my new project I was going to show you in a minute.
Are you power supply testing?
Well, let me show you now then. There. Wait, let me get some more camera wire.
Oh, the oscilloscope. Someone's measuring ripple.
So, what you're looking at is one of these.
Okay.
Which is a new flight controller that booted up for the first time yesterday with one of these.
Like VTX and receiver all in one?
More than that.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, is it going to focus?
Focus, you fan.
And on the other side, it's got more stuff. Is it going to do it? Come on, focus.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. So you've got an ELRS chip with 2 SX1280s and 2 power amplifiers and a TCXO in the middle. And then you've got 2 little black things either side there, which are the stacking connectors. And you've got a button over here. You've got a Wi-Fi antenna here. You've got a black box login flash chip expansion for the FC. And then the other side, you've got a VTX and an L4 processor for doing SP Racing Pixel OSD.
Nice.
With the VTX connector there, Wi-Fi connector, the Wi-Fi antennas, and the Gemini ELRS things. And that stacks onto the flight controller. And then you end up with a teeny tiny little stack that's, you know, super thin like that.
Nice.
And 8 motor outputs. It's got CAN on it, so you can do servos and all the rest of it. And then yesterday I was making up this little fun jig over here for programming a bunch more. But yeah, that's been keeping me really busy.
JTAG.
Yeah, for manufacturing, you just have these sort of pogo pin mount things, but I haven't made those up. When you're only doing 6, it's like for like testing samples and stuff. It's like, I'm not going through the whole process of making a jig up just for 6, but so not like a proper jig.
Yeah.
So it's just got a temporary one that hacked up yesterday. So, but it seems to be over. I put the camera in the wrong spot. Hold on. There we go. That's better. That's where it's supposed to be.
So you're not worried. You're still producing something that's analog, and you haven't gone over to being like
the digital.
Yeah.
Not for the moment. They've added the the VTX code in ExpressLRS only fairly recently, and they use it a lot for the little Whoop boards and so on. That's its sort of one of its intended sort of markets or use cases or whatever on a Whoop board integrated. But it also makes sense if you combine like the OSD with it. And also in the face of like the Betaflight devs not wanting to merge the SP Racing Pixel OSD into Betaflight itself, I've still got this code that I spent quite a lot of time writing. So I'm like, well, I suppose if I write the UART code that allows Betaflight to talk to it via UART, which is already in Betaflight and iNav already, and then just make it compatible with that and then ship it, and it'll still be awesome. But it won't be, it's not as awesome as it otherwise would be. Because obviously it's held back technically by the UART communication speed, as opposed to drawing pixels directly to a frame buffer in the flight controller code. So different kettle of fish.
Yeah. So you're still not too sure about, you know, starting to make stuff for digital in mind?
Yeah, the problem with the digital stuff is there's probably only like 1 or 2 chips, and I haven't talked to the people that make the chip, like the what's it called? There's 2 competing ones, and then my brain is not working. What's the name of the digital?
I'm unsure. I wouldn't know
which one it is. Come on, you got the DJI one, you got the other HD0. That's the one. God, I just couldn't remember. I was thinking Open VTX, but that was the other thing.
Open HD.
Open HD was the other one I'm using. It's not that one.
Hang on.
But I haven't talked to the one that I couldn't remember, which I can't remember again now. I haven't talked to them to see how, you know, if you can buy the chips from them to make your own.
Cadex.
But to be honest, I'm not. It doesn't excite me that much, to be honest. Maybe, but they are coming down in price. I mean, there was a new one. Came out fairly recently, didn't it? A few days ago, it's been announced, which is like a race version of it, which has got sensible like voltage inputs, and price-wise, it looks pretty good for a VTX system. It's like $60. I mean, we used to pay like $60 for like an immersion RC one back in the day, didn't we? So, you know.
Yeah, I know.
And that was 10 years ago, and we've had inflation since then. So, if you look at it from that point of view, it's like, well, actually, it's not too bad.
Yeah, still another 500 quid's worth of race.
The goggles. Yeah, but you know, like you pay like 400 quid or whatever for Dominators or whatever back in the day.
True.
So, you know, race 3 VTX, I think it is. Is it this one? Yeah, $70 it is.
Clive, yeah, race V3.
Race V3, yeah, bring it up on the screen share thingy.
I don't know.
I've not tried that yet. Maybe I should do it myself. Hold on, let me try it.
So, you can always post it in the.
Not sure. Oh, here we go. I can select a window. Oh dear me. Oh dear. How'd you do it? How'd you do it? Oh, there it is. This thing.
Present.
Oh, do I have to press a button as well? There we go. Wait. Oh, I've confuzzled it. Hold on, let me try that again. No, now it's not got the right window list. Oh, dearie me.
Post me the link in the private chat if you want.
Hold on, I've got it now. Hold on. Share screen. Share screen. Select window. HC0 Race V3. Go. There. That one. Can I zoom? I can zoom.
Yep.
But yeah, that's quite small. Nice. Pretty good.
People still running. Oh, it's like, yeah, it's the new one, isn't it? I was going to say, yeah, because the other one seemed that people were having to like run Bex on them with them and stuff like that.
That's right. This one you don't. It's got it's got 4 to 12 volts, which is very good. So you can run it off a 5-volt Beck or 9-volt Beck or whatever like that, no problem, which is good. It doesn't say how much juice it wants. No, but it wouldn't be on that. I mean, like, you don't really want to have like giant switching regulators and massive inductors and all the rest of it on something that's doing video transmission and RF signals. You don't want that on the same board, really. Yeah. So it's better on somewhere else, like on the ESC basically, the noisiest bit. Put the back on the ESC. Like if you wanted to fix the world properly, you'd have the OSD built into the camera or the VTX transmitter. You would have your 4-in-1 ESC with a single MCU on it, not 4 MCUs like we have today. So there's only one bit of firmware to upgrade. And then you'd have space for more BECs on the ESC, right? And then you've only got one connection to the flight controller, and then everything would be fine. But yeah, that's the ideal world solution. You heard it here first.
Yeah. Why is that with the whole like individual ESC? I suppose that's a legacy thing for having individual ESCs.
Not sure. Well,
we got.
I mean, there's a few reasons. One is that one motor requires various different hardware resources from the MCU. And if you're using a cheap MCU, they don't have enough hardware resources like comparators, inputs, and timer channel outputs and things like that. And B, the price, it has to be super low. C, if you try to do 4 motors on one, you would need a beefier CPU to do it all, because instead of using a cheap one to do one, it's now got to do 4. So it is a more complicated prospect in terms of the software. So they just have 4 MCUs, but it's not the right solution, because it's much more of a problem, the communication interface between the flight controller and the ESCs. Now you need some crap protocol like D-Shot, dare I say it, crap protocol. I mean, it's better than PWM, but it only exists because we've got ESCs, like 4-in-1 ESCs and separate ESCs, which only have one sort of signal input. So there's a few different use cases that have to be solved in terms of like fixing the ESC problem. There's the single ESC on an ARM solution, so you need a protocol for that. And you need the solution for a single MCU, but 4 motor outputs on that MCU, which is like the usual 4-in-1 boards. And then you've also got things where the ESC is very far away on a really big frame. You have to solve that as well, because those ones really don't like noise, because the motors that they use are like massive and chunky, and the signal that controls them has to travel a long way. So I've been talking to people about various different solutions regarding all this a while back ago, before I started doing this current new VLRS
shielded
project.
wires.
No, it's not that. It's CAN-FD looks like the sort of workable solution really for it all.
So like based on like the CAN bus on cars,
yeah,
noisy CAN bus, leads.
But CAN bus V1 it's limited to the amount of data that you can send to it. Whereas CAN-FD you can send 8 megabits per second, and then on top of that, out of that 8 megabits per second, you have to like have the CAN overhead, protocol overhead, and so on. But there is enough bandwidth to do it at a rate which is good enough for what we need to do. Comparable to like D-Shot 600 kind of rates, that kind of thing. And if you're sending like one frame to one 4-in-1 ESC, then you can send all the data at the same time in a very short packet, and then you can get a lot of those packets out. And it uses a differential signal. So like USB, your USB cables can be fairly long because they've got like a positive rail and a negative rail on the signal, and it's the voltage difference that is what is read at the other end of it. So if the voltage isn't, at the right threshold at the other end because the cable's really long or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's the voltage difference is what matters. And CAN-FD is the same. LVDS SCSI was the same ages ago, I think. That's the one. That's one of the things that made SCSI, in server racks and things like that, more useful,
viable.
Yeah, or viable as well. Yeah.
With the twist cables and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like ferrite cores in the middle of them and stuff.
Whereas with like old SCSI and IDE 40-pin connectors, oh yeah, IDE.
Got an IDE unit up there, like I know. Oh,
yeah, so use the right technology for the right application, I think is
yes, Mr. Cleanfly. I remember when you finally got D-Shot to like sync with the packets. The sort of there was like a short little video that you did zoomed into your oscilloscope, and you were like,
what was that, fixing some kind of bug or something?
Yeah, well, it was just like discarding packets that weren't synced with the loop time, I think.
Oh, there was something to do with that. It was about how
with the refresh rate or something.
Yeah, I don't know, that was a long time ago. That was yeah. So yeah, because you got synchronous signals and asynchronous signals, whereas the PWM is asynchronous, whereas the D-Shot is synchronous, ideally to the loop rate of the quad, basically, of the flight controller.
Any regrets of stuff that you wished you did but you didn't get around to doing? Regarding
what are we talking about here? Any regrets? There's probably a lot of things I could have done better. There's probably a few things that I don't know, should have jumped on earlier. Didn't see the potential. Didn't see, it's hard to know, because when you've got so many things being thrown at you by so many people, it's hard to go, this is a killer feature, everyone's going to want that. Who knew that flashing your ESCs was such a killer feature that everyone just put a Betafly on it because it had that on it first? Who knew? I thought black box login was good, so I said yes, let's have that. Timecop, if you ask the same question to Timecop, he'd probably say, "God, I probably should have merged that bloody black box login stuff before Mr. Cleanfly did it."
Yeah,
because that was a big game. That was a game changer. That was.
I know. Just being able to see what your quad is actually doing.
I had to raise an issue on a GitHub project that I found recently, because I'm programming Rust these days. Randomly, I searched for black box logging on like crates.io or something, and it turns out there's a Rust implementation of a black box log library, so that you can suck out the information you need from a log, and it's all written in Rust, which is really nice. And I'm like, great. So I looked at the README page, and it doesn't mention anything about Cleanflight and like Nicholas Sherlock's black box code or anything like that. So I raised an issue and said, I think you need to update your attributions list a little bit. And they did. It was great.
Hey.
I'm like, I said, I'm sure Nick would appreciate it.
Yeah. Open lager.
That's it.
Oh,
so, credit where credit's due and all that.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I just wondered, like, just the sort of like implementations, because like I mean, you had all sorts. You had like the Painless, like nagging you to make a wing only flight controller, and now like Maytech, and
I know.
Like you had one. You had that triangle thing, and it was like,
well, it was a flight controller in the shape of a wing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
I should probably actually like finish that or something, like do an H7 wing one or something. I've got a bunch of H730s sitting in a box of parts down there. So
do it, man. I would test them.
I've got to finish this thing first. It's like there's only one of me. I haven't got enough time to do all the things. So right now I'm in VTX land, trying to understand the ERS VTX SPI implementation, and I'm using the DAC, and it looks like there's a bug in it, and it's not setting the threshold voltage correctly, which means I'm not getting the right milliwatt outputs on my VTX that I should be. I'm like,
DAC, digital analog.
Yeah, all this stuff. That's what I'm doing today. Bunch of fun.
So that's what the power, the immersion RC power meter.
That's exactly what that is doing on my desk. Yes, I'm just basic measurements to start with, I'm only getting like 9 milliwatts out of it. And I'm like, that's not right. And then if I flip it into this other mode on the transmitter, which I know is not configured correctly, but I'm just going to want to get ballpark figures so I can calibrate it either up or down, right? And I'm like, flip it into the other mode, and then I'm only getting like 45 milliwatts out of it. I'm like, I mean, it's usable, but it's supposed to be about 250. So why? And I think the reason is because the bias threshold voltage, not threshold voltage, bias voltage is not being output correctly. I think that's the root cause of it. After digging around in the code base. But there's another bug in Betaflight that like I came up today and I was like, why? So I'm like, my understanding of the VTX code in ELRS was you have an ELRS RX that's got a VTX on it, and then it talks to the flight controller using a UART with Crossfire on it, and then the transmitter has got the VTX admin thing on it, and you go send VTX, and it would change the VTX on the ELRS thing. No.
Oh, what, the backpack?
No, not the backpack. Not the backpacks. So if you had a backpack, it would send that to the backpack and then change your goggles. But the backpack's just for the goggles, right?
Yeah.
But it's supposed to send the VTX channel over the air to the receiver, and then the receiver's supposed to take the channel and then do something with it. My understanding is it would talk directly to the VTX because it's on the same MCU, but it doesn't, which is really weird. So I'm going to probably have to write this code. But what it actually does, it then creates an MSP packet, sends that to the flight controller over Crossfire. So it embeds it in Crossfire, which is weirder again. And then the flight controller handles it and then sends more MSP back to the ELRS receiver, which then processes that packet and then sets the VTX on it. So it's really convoluted the way that it sets it. It takes ages to press send VTX and it goes blah 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 blah, and then the channel changes. I'm like, well, okay,
not optimized. It's like parcel.
It would be nice to improve that a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. But at least you can do it from your handset, so instead of pressing a button on it.
Yeah, true.
So so I'm working through all that at the moment. So because I want this thing to be able to be used as standalone, because I think, is it up here? Yeah. I made these nifty little carrier boards. This thing. So that's a little carrier board. Hi world. And this has got a Beck on it basically, and it's got 4 PWM outputs on it. And this thing plops on here somehow. And then you solder this row of pins on it, and then there's one on each corner as well for each PWM output. And then you could use this in a wing, for instance, or glider or something like that, or an FPV car, and then you wouldn't need a flight controller. But in order for that to work, I need to change the VTX channel from the transmitter, because there's no flight controller. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. So yeah, I've got some work to do there. It turns out more work than I thought I was going to have to do. Probably should have investigated that a little bit more before I designed a PCB, ordered the expensive PCBs and assembled them and everything. But live and learn. Still, it's fun. But now I've built the carrier boards, the flight controllers for them to all stack into. The design is kind of fixed, and I ran into this really annoying problem in the ESP datasheets. I'll show you this. It's really funny. I can't believe I screwed it up quite so badly as I did. But
oh, how the mighty have fallen.
I did. Well, it wasn't good when I found out. I'm like, no.
So a little note. Any questions for Mr. Cleanflight? Put it in chat, and we'll in the last 10 minutes we'll quick fire some questions for you.
Here we go. Let me do a screen share. Present. Screen share. Don't show these tips again. Go away. And then pick the thing. Is it that? No. This. Technical reference mode. No. This one.
I wish I had a dark mode.
Okay, so this is the data sheet for the CPU. And you're like, okay, so I've got a pin, and this is what you do with it. I've got a pin, and this is what you do with it. You've got a pin, and this is what you do with it, right? And you're like, okay, cool. All right, great. So, I've got some pins, like maybe, I don't know, let's pick this one. So it's got GPIO, it's got SD command, it's got cable select 0 for SPI, and it's got some other stuff on it, and UART 1. It's like, fine, okay, I'll use that pin in my design. Everything's fine. And then you go also down in this thing, and you see this.
Oh God, that's looking really KiCad-y.
Right. You see this is the schematic of it. So you're like, so you've got a CPU in the middle. You've got a CPU in the middle, and then you've got a crystal up here, and then you've got some capacitors over here, and you've got a flash chip over here, and you think, okay, that's how it all fits together, and that's why you do the signals. But I'm not using the flash chip, so we could ignore that. And then you're like, hold on a minute. I thought the Pico had a crystal built in. Why are they showing me a crystal that's on the outside of the chip? You're like, okay, that's a bit weird. So then you scroll down here, and then it's got another peripheral one. And you're like, and then now it's talking about PS RAM. And it's like, PS RAM? And then you're like, well, where's the crystal gone? It was connected to these pins here. And where's the caps gone? It was now it's just nothing's connected. What's going on? What's going on?
Different chips.
So it turns out, no. It turns out that this crystal is inside the chip. It turns out that this flash chip is inside the chip. And it turns out that these resistor capacitor things over here are inside the chip. But the diagram hasn't got a nice clear indication with a little dotted line around it to say that these are internal. Right? So then you're like, hold on a minute. And at this point, I'd designed the PCBs, routed the layout, sent all the files off to China, waited ages, paid for delivery, paid for a reasonable sized batch of expensive 6-layer PCBs, which you can't get in like 1 or 2 quantities. You have to buy like 250 of them or something like this, right? Shipped them, assembled them on the pick and place machine, which took like 2 days to do that, flapping about with that for ages. Put it in, ran the ELRS code on it, got the code on it, and it booted, but then it would just go into a boot loop. I'm like, and then one of the guys in the ELRS channel goes, what pins are you using for this? I'm like, these ones. It's like, and then he pointed at something in the reference manual, which I missed because there isn't, like a little asterisk next to some of these pins that says the pins IO16, 17, command clock, SD0 and SD1 are used to connect to the embedded flash and cannot be used for other purposes. So what was happening was that as soon as I tried to talk to the SX1280 for the ELRS, it would like toggle the CS pin on the SX1280 or whatever, and then like overwrite the signal going to the internal flash, and then the flash would be then reading the code from somewhere else, and then they would just go, that's not code, and reboot. I'm like, bollocks. Excuse my French.
Oh dear.
So yeah, new PCB revision time that was.
Oh no!
So I've got to do
How
new
much
PCB revision for that.
Like
$600 of just PCBs in the bin. They're still in China at the moment. I don't even have them here because they're supposed to be doing the assembly over there. I just sent like 3 or 4 PCBs here, and I just say no, throw them in the bin. Can't do anything with them. Dolt. And the stencils that go with them for the solder paste. You got to get new ones of those as well. Oh dear. But now the problem now is that there were 6 pins that I used, which you can't use for anything else. But I've used those in my design, and my design relies on those now. And it's like, now what am I going to do? So I've got to do
you're
like
running
some form
out of pins.
Yeah, there are no free pins. There's no free pins.
Oh no.
So I've got to do either I2C IO expansion, but that's latency issues involved in that, or one of the guys in the ELRS channel came up with the idea of a shift register, so I've got to do that. But unfortunately, the devs have talked about it and they decided they don't like the idea. So I'm like, so I don't know whether that's ever going to be merged into ELRS if I go that direction. So yeah, but there's still other stuff on it to test. I haven't made a final decision yet, but I don't really want to fork and run my own fork of ELRS for my own stuff. But
no, don't do
it.
If
I have to, I have to.
Stuff for a shift register.
Because there's no real solution. It's like wait a year, use a new CPU with more pins on it, like the S3 or something. I could possibly do that, but I want to get this thing done, shipping now, right? So yeah, what are you gonna do? Never mind.
Make the wing flight controller. I'd love to give that a bash.
Well, I mean, part of the other problem is that I've got my flight controller that the thing plugs into, right? And that works. It's perfectly fine. And then I've also got my carrier boards, which I just had in my hand a minute ago.
Yeah.
Where I don't know, it's disappeared now.
Oh, you dropped on the floor.
Probably.
Remember? Because you went, oh.
Yeah. So I got the accessories, and the ecosystem is ready for it now. And I spent ages writing the OSD code as well. Oh yeah, I could do a little screen share of that as well.
Yeah.
You'd like
Have
this.
you fixed the whole OSD thing where you've got to like clear the chip and then flash it, flash the flight controller separately? I think there was a bit of a song and dance with the one that
there was there was a bug in Betaflight Configurator where it was erasing the flash chip when it wasn't supposed to be erasing the flash chip, even when the little thing that says full chip erase was turned off. Yeah.
Sometimes I just think they do that anyway. I think old Chris G had that a little bit of an issue with that.
Yeah. Here we go. Let me do a present thing. Share screen. There we go.
Can you add it to stream, or have I got to click that button? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I think you have to do it, maybe.
Do I?
There you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, if I don't know whether people know here anyway, but there's a GitHub repo which has got the Pixel OSD code and schematics and everything like that on there, and the flight controllers that it was put on, right? And the original prototype was running on an L4, and then I moved it onto the H7s, right? But now it's all going back the other way onto an L4 again. And here's the new prototype with a lovely dead bug. No, because of the Betaflight maintainers don't want to merge it into Betaflight. Yeah. So now I have to do all this stuff.
Dead bug, mate. I have not seen that in a long time.
So I had to make a dead bug the other day. So the wires are 0.1 millimeter thick wires, and the pitch on that component is 0.4 millimeters between each, like the middle of one pad to the middle of the next pad. So yeah, it's quite a small component to be fiddling about with. But it worked the first time though. I was quite happy with that. I made a dead bug for ages.
Mate, I have not seen one of those since the 80s.
And here it is working last week or whatever, or maybe 3 weeks ago, on the L4 again. And then that same code is now what's running on the new little circuit board, the new ELRS board. So yeah, that was pretty cool getting that running. But there's a lot more to do it, because at the moment it just draws pixels, but it's completely static at the moment. It doesn't do anything else. But the point is that the output signals work. This stuff. That's the important stuff. That's it. That's a video frame where the bits in the middle, you can't see. Oh yeah, these bits here. This is the pixels of the test pan being drawn. And this is the sync. This is the color burst. This is the image data, and these are a couple of pixels. And then it starts the next frame.
Nice.
That's sort of the way it looks like. Yeah.
It's NTSB, cool. Never the same color.
Yeah. And that's the test pattern. And that's some, you can't do that on a Max 7456. Overlays, overlaid text. In your dreams, drawing on top of graphics behind it. But,
that's the devil work. That is.
It's magic.
What's with the test pattern? Is that just a giant X or something?
It's just a bit of simple code that I could just throw together, so it drew something different on every single line. I didn't spend more than about 2 minutes writing that test code. Yeah, it's throwaway code, but it's useful for making sure there is something to look at that's different on every single line of the display, and then looking at the weird sort of edge cases, where the pixels are next to each other. You can look at the slew rate of the black versus the white signals to see whether the black pixels end up being slightly longer than the white ones or whatever. You can go to town and trying to get the timing right on this stuff.
All synced by an internal crystal.
Sort of. There is an internal crystal on the L4, because this one's on the L4. The other stuff we were looking at was for the ELRS, that was for the SX1280s, the RX receivers. So there's 2 processors on that board, one for the OSD and one for the VTX and 2.4 gigahertz control link.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 bits of firmware on it, which is fun.
Nice.
Anyway, there we are.
Right. Well, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for. No one put any questions. Is there anything else you want to tell people that you're also working on to keep up to date? I've posted the I've posted the Discord invite link in the chat. Hey Zero, how you doing, buddy?
Let's have a look. Any questions? No.
Yeah, no one. No questions. I think they just wanted to hear what you've been up to.
Yeah.
What's the best things to follow you on to keep up to date?
I'm very active in the ELRS hardware dev channel, if they're curious. Quite active in there these days. With other random goings on in my life as well. In the spam channel on there too sometimes. That's probably the best place, or on the SP Racing Discord server. There's not much chatter on there at the moment because there's not too many issues that come up with the products they make, so there's not too much support to do. So, which is nice.
Thank you
Either
for
that
everything.
Or no one's using them.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you've done for the hobby. We do appreciate it, even though sometimes the whingy ones make it seem like no one appreciates anything. But yeah.
Well, there are some people, just as a little bonus extra time, that appreciate things a little bit more. Because the other day, I don't know whether anyone knows about this YOLO flight controller project.
No.
But this board is the YOLO sort of Chonker H735 based one. But the Beta Flight maintainers couldn't get it working. So CR Teensy sent one to me, and it works yesterday. So I got 2 flight controllers working in the same day yesterday. I got my own flight controller working in the afternoon, and I got this one working in the morning. So they appreciate my work.
Fucking hell. Ben Scarborough says, "Yep, thanks. You personally got me off the ground at London Aerospace and never looked back. Just enjoying the drone talk. No questions needed for the past."
I don't know. Where has the hour gone?
Yeah, I do a radio show on the Thursday night show. And I will be on from 11 till 1 in the morning. So if you guys like 80s new retro wave music, come and join me on that. Unfortunately, because Stephen's not here and I'm busy doing that, we can't do a bonus pod. But I really want to do a bonus pod with you, Mr. Clean Flight, and I don't know whether you're free next week, and we can talk about like clones, Radio C. Like, the thing is, I've always wanted to talk about Radio C, but obviously, like, I love Fab because, like, you know, but equally, like, some of the bullshit, I'd love to just do like a sort of like off the record, like, this is what happened. I've got a folder of like the Radio C drama, and I'm wondering, would you like to go through it with the Patreons?
Who else is going to be on there? It can't be just me.
Probably just me and you. Like,
we need to get more other Radio C related people.
Who else is there?
This. I don't know, customers or
customers. What?
People,
like Grimes, call him up.
Cloned products from, and
who else? Like, you can't get Trappy on. Trappy's.
I don't know. You'd have to go back on the Internet Wayback Machine or something like that and have a look and see how many other people's products were claimed. What?
Like
the Internet Archive. iArchive.
No, like Radio C archiveness or whatnot. But just like anyone.
Can you not find radioc.co.uk on the Internet Archive then?
I don't know. Yeah, you can. I think you can pull some images or whatever.
Yeah, so you can look on there and see what else there was. That might be a fun exercise.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I just loved some of the stories of like, you know, my Radio C battery strap is my most prized possession. I've got one. Someone personally sent one to me. Yeah, I know. I just like, oh man. I'm annoyed because Fab took like my Radio C shirt. I had like the polo Radio C shirt.
No.
I would have loved to have still had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can arrange something.
You know, the Sony CC D600 camera. I wish I still had one of them. It was over dog shit.
Yeah, the old board cams. Yeah, I was using a board cam. I've got this one board camera. It's really annoying for OSD stuff because the video signal voltage like goes all over the place. It's a nightmare. So the OSD system has to track the voltage level, and if it doesn't, then you lose sync. So it's a good test board, even though it's crap.
Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, I just I don't know whether he'll be up for it next week. Maybe we could do it, but honestly, I can't think of anyone else other than like it's worrying. Like saying Matt Hillier, like it's worrying. Like saying names out loud. Maybe we get Tony on. Tony remembers Radio C days.
Yeah.
Tone would be good.
Yeah. Maybe Painless 360 as well. He might know.
Painless is away.
Is he? Because you've been threatening to get me and Painless on the show at some point for ages, so that needs to happen at some point, doesn't it?
Yeah, but well, the thing is, it's like an after-hours bonus pod, so it's like
maybe do the whole stream about Radio C. It'll be fine.
Fuck no, he can't, mate. Just like maybe it's better off like Sleeping Dogs Lie, you know? Maybe. I don't know, but like just
it's an idea, isn't it? You know, you can put it on the back burner and come up with some more material.
I know.
Still, there we are.
I think the Patreons deserve it because they keep this shit show running. Speaking of Patreons, yeah, any views expressed by any guests are personal may not reflect the view of others. Thank you to all our wonderful Patreons. You're there, Mr. Clean Flight. Thank you for sponsoring us. You've been listening to Letsdroneout. We've got wonderful Patreons. Maybe we could do a really sort of juicy Patreon stream for you guys as a massive thank you. If you are